Ravi Agarwal is Managing Director of Medique Financial. In 2017, Medique Financial, under the leadership of Ravi, was awarded the AFA Practice of the Year, the highest accolade available for a practice in the financial advice profession. Ravi is an experienced advisor whose key objective is to assist medical professionals throughout Australia to make smart financial and business decisions to allow them to achieve their life goals and dreams. Please welcome Ravi.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for those kind words. As mentioned, my name is Ravi Agarwal, and I've been invited to speak to you as the recipient of the 2017 AFA Practice of the Year Award. The topic that I've been told to speak about is business performance and what that looks like for me as a specialist advisor and also as a business owner. So just to give you some background, Medique Financial is a multidisciplinary business, so we provide financial planning, investment advice, risk insurance, credit, tax and legal services to clients across Australia. I established the business in December 2010 at the age of 26 from a home office in the outer suburbs of Melbourne, and we've now grown to a team of 34 full-time staff dealing with over 300 clients across Australia. And during that time, I've experienced numerous highs and lows, and I faced many challenges, but I've also sought out and had lots of opportunities come my way. So over this almost 8-year period, I've been invited a couple of times to speak, and it's given me the opportunity to reflect back on my journey to today and really start to understand some of the decisions that I've made, and if I was given the opportunity to go back, what would I do differently? And naturally, I'd love to be able to stand here in front of you all and, kind of wow you with some impressive or innovative solution that I've invented, or give you the name and details of some groundbreaking technology that I've implemented, or even some magical training course that I've attended that's really revolutionized the way I operate and run my practice. There are some great advisors out there and business owners who are innovating and making big changes in our industry. But after a lot of thought, I've decided that I'm not one of them. I don't have that single brushstroke answer to what improves, guarantees, or even sustains business performance. And I think at this point, a quote from that much referenced book, the Bible, comes to mind. Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 9. There is nothing new under the sun. For me, removing this unnecessary need to constantly innovate or find something that as a business we do differently, I could feel a weight lifting off my shoulders. For me, it was a real cathartic and liberating experience. I think as advisors, we're often far too hard on ourselves for not coming up with the next new thing that's supposed to completely change what we do. And I think sometimes what we need to do is actually take a step back and consider the basics. So today, I'd like to incorporate and share a few of my learnings and specifically talk about what I believe has had the biggest impact on our business performance and what I consider the 3 key factors that as practice owners, as advisors, that we should consider investing in from the very start. So my first learning, operating in a niche, or more importantly, really knowing your clients. One of the first things that I found when I entered the financial services business was it's really hard to have an edge if you're going to be everything to all people. There are only 168 hours in the week, and I wanted to build a business dealing with the types of clients that I wanted to serve. So for me, that was clients I could relate to, time-poor professionals, clients that understood the value of advice. They had to be financial delegators. They needed to belong to an industry that I already knew, or they needed to belong to an industry that I could become an expert in. And what I ended up with by going through that process was my ideal client profile. So having this ideal client profile made the process of making decisions so much easier, as I knew exactly who I was targeting. It allowed me to have a clear vision of the business that I wanted to build. So, as a business, we deal with a niche, doctors. And from the day we opened our doors, Medique Financial has only ever dealt with doctors. So what that means is 100% of our clients are medical professionals and their families. Now, I know all the marketing experts out there say that niching is obvious, but I think just choosing a particular profession or even a particular demographic, it isn't enough. If the goal is to build a great business with a great team, great clients, a business that is profitable, sustainable, and ethical, then I think we have to look a little bit deeper than a client's qualifications. For us, a major turning point in the growth of our business is when we sat down and actually tried to identify the personality traits and behavioral characteristics of our ideal clients. Rather than just chasing all doctors, we realized that we actually only wanted to deal with a very small group of this large niche demographic. The question we asked ourselves as a team was, who is the type of client that we need to resonate most strongly with to successfully achieve our objectives? So we went through our client base and we tried to identify clients who we like to deal with. And I guess more importantly, they like dealing with us. We looked through our most profitable clients, our biggest referrers and advocates, and we tried to identify what were the common strands that held these types of clients together. We hit a breakthrough. What stood out is that all of these clients shared a very similar mindset to myself and our team. We were effectively recruiting clients that thought and behaved the same as us. We found that they were generally self-made, not from family money, had very high expectations of themselves and those around them. They were grateful for the opportunity that they were given, and they had a true fear of failure. They were proud of the achievements so far, and they were competent, analytical, professional perfectionists. So you might be asking, what's the significance of all of this? Well, my primary role at Medique is business development. It is my duty to grow our client community and ensure that it flourishes. And having identified the type of clients that we can best serve, it makes the process of recruiting them far more easier. Within an initial 30-minute phone call, I'm able to ascertain, one, is the client someone who needs our service? And if they are, I'm able to articulate exactly why they should join us. So as a business, we only have 300 clients, and with a team of 34 servicing them, we're certainly a high-touch business. But ultimately, this is the business that we choose to build. The power of being able to deal with one type of person is incredible. Processes become more defined, and the entire business is so much easier to manage. From this ideal client profile, we spent considerable time then investing in our client meeting process. One simple but effective task was setting out a clear structure to every single meeting, from the point of engagement up until the point of advice delivery. We take each of our clients through a comprehensive 3-meeting process. And each of these meetings have been streamlined to add value to our clients, but more importantly, to be efficient for us as a business. We also have a structured approach to the way we generate documents and we produce presentations. And this all comes from understanding what our clients' expectations are, and as a business, how we're geared to deliver on those expectations. Recruitment of staff has also become more targeted. We look for people who share a similar work ethic and a passion for advice. We look for people who align to our business values, so the expectations that we place on them can be articulated from the very start of our relationship. And I think most importantly, we don't have to waste time, money, or energy dealing with clients who are not suited to our business. Since having articulated the type of person that we need to connect most strongly with, our business growth has become sustainable. And we're validated every single day by dealing with clients who not only respect our time, they value our team and they value our services. My second learning was really developing, or the process of developing, an abundance mentality. Now, I don't know what it was like for a lot of you when you first started as an advisor or as a business owner, but during the initial years of Medique, I had a feeling that I was onto something special. We achieved a degree of commercial success, and with that came some industry recognition. And ultimately, I had a feeling that I had something that I needed to keep secret. Having entered a market with many competitors, with competitors much larger than us and a history spanning many decades, I felt protective of our business model and our intellectual property. However, ultimately that changed. Through a friend, I was introduced to a banker, and he came to visit us in our office. Now, normally I wouldn't take the meeting, but as it was an introduction from a friend, I accepted, but with pretty minimal expectations of any sort of meaningful outcome. When I met him, what was really surprising was the level of knowledge that this banker had on the medical financial services industry. Like all good bankers, he was name-dropping in the hope to get my attention. And I can tell you it worked. As a new migrant into the country, having only been in Australia 2 years at the time, my professional network was close to non-existent. And this banker regaled me of stories of, in my eyes, titans of our niche industry. And he gave me insights into the game that I was in that were invaluable. Then he would do something that would change my business forever. Casually, he said, if I wanted to, he could arrange lunch with the person in my eyes was our biggest competitor. Look, naturally, I immediately called bullshit. Why would one of Australia's most successful advice CEOs want to have lunch with me? Surely he would just see me as another whippersnapper trying to claw away market share. Well, I hesitantly accepted the offer, and over the coming months, lunch was arranged. I attended the CEO's boardroom, half expecting to be told off like a naughty schoolboy for playing games I shouldn't be. But how wrong I was. I was instead greeted by warmth, openness, an inquisitive nature, and more importantly to me, an invaluable insight into the industry that I was in. Like a lot of you here, I pride myself on my relationship building skills. So I took it as a challenge to extract as much information from this meeting as possible without giving anything away. Still having my Gollum-like attitude, I walked away from the meeting with my precious intellectual property intact. And having extracted invaluable insights, I thought I had won. I'd met with the giants face to face, and I walked away to tell the tale. Now, a few months passed, and what happened next was something even more surprising. The Titan CEO introduced me to another Titan CEO and invited me to a discussion on the industry. Now, it was at this stage that my spidey senses were on high alert. I immediately thought, it's got to be a coup by the establishment to wipe me from the map. Why else would CEOs with businesses 20 times my size want to hear my opinion on anything? Surely they just wanted to steal my ideas and kill off the competition. And I'd love to be able to stand here in front of you today and tell you about a story where I embraced camaraderie and we all shared ideas for the benefit of the collective. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. For the next few months, I continued my Gollum behavior, harvesting pieces of information, while contributing little. But as the months went by, I slowly started to share in the environment. And what happened next was truly unexpected. The insights that I received on my own ideas were actually more valuable than the ideas themselves. These men were actively helping my business. And it was at this stage that I had a revelation. We are not competitors. There are plenty of medical clients for everyone. In fact, we all share a common goal: to provide the highest level of financial services to medical practitioners across Australia. Now, this subtle insight has completely changed our entire business, and it's completely changed the way that I approach the profession and I approach my peers. And of course, that flows on to mentees and all business associates. And as you can imagine, it's transformed the conversations that come with this level of open-mindedness. The lesson to me here is simple. Don't fear competition. Don't hide. Collaborate. So now on to my third learning. Impatience is a virtue. When I reflect back on the 8 years in the journey to where I am today, I don't regret the bad decisions that I've made. I regret the length of time that they took me to make them. Whether it was exiting a toxic employee or a toxic client, or even trying a new piece of software, I wish I had more impatience in those earlier years. Now, in business, for those of you that do know me, I am very impatient, and I have this internal sense of urgency when it comes to my business, Medique. And I know this sense of urgency can be annoying to other people, and my haste has certainly got me into bother a few times. But I'm a massive believer that everyone in business needs a healthy degree of impatience to succeed. Now, of course, this lesson comes with a moderation and deserves a caveat of moderation. I'm not talking about making rash decisions or taking uncalculated risks, but I am talking about not delaying the inevitable, or worse, staring down the barrel of change with paralysis. Lots of great advisors, they never succeed in their own business or even as part of an organization. And some people, ironically, put this down to risk aversion or fear of failure or even just bad luck. Now, my thoughts are different. I think the worst thing that you can do is just wait for things to come to you. Many people miss great opportunities by deliberating and waiting for the perfect time. Worse yet, they think if they work hard and pay their dues, then success will come to them. What I've learned and what I would go back and do differently is move swiftly. Failures will happen, but the biggest crime is inactivity. No one is denying that you need to work hard as an advisor or as a practice owner, but no one is going to make your life a success for you. The question I would like you to all ask yourselves is, what decision are you holding off on? Everyone knows Aesop's fable, the story of the tortoise and the hare. The financial advice industry, I think, could be said to have many a tortoise, reading and complaining about LIF, FOFA, reductions in remuneration, changes in legislation, and then a Royal Commission on top. The late Anita Bruckner wrote a book 34 years ago with his words as relevant then as they are now. In real life, it is the hare who wins every time. Look around you. And in any case, it's my contention that Aesop was writing for the tortoise market. Hares have no time to read. They're too busy winning the game. Thank you. I appreciate you all kind of listening to a bit about my story and the learnings. Some of the feedback that we've got on the 2-week roadshow that we've been on is that people would like opportunities to ask questions about the business, processes, people, the learning. So if that's okay, I'd like to open the floor for 10 or so minutes or 5 minutes, if anyone's got any questions.
Does anyone have any questions? Any questions?
Stunned silence.
I have a question. With 34 staff and 300 clients, how do you work with your 300 clients? How do you work with your clients? What do you do?
Sure. So, like I mentioned, our business is certainly a high-touch model. When we started the journey, when I was on my own, I think the key thing I decided is that financial service is far too complex to be a master of everything. So we had a project management style of approach. When it was me, I was the project manager, and the client would have an accountant, a financial advisor, a mortgage broker, an insurance, estate planning lawyer, and I effectively coordinated all those services, and I charged a fee for service for that. But as we grew, we effectively were able to bring those services in-house. Mortgage broking as an example. For the first 2 years, we effectively project managed the client's credit scenarios. So we met with the bankers. Whenever the client met the banker, they would meet in our office. But what that meant was for 2 years, we were effectively doing a huge amount of work without actually receiving any remuneration or any direct remuneration for that work. But what it eventually gave us is the ability to bring that service in-house and then say to our clients, we're now going to manage credit in-house, and effectively all of those clients moved across their credit advice to us, and it suddenly became a profitable division. And we just rinsed and repeated that process across every single division, where the last one we brought in was estate planning. We now have an in-house legal team, and effectively that completes our suite of services.
Morning, Ravi.
Morning.
You mentioned you've gone from a one-man band to 34 people. Two kind of questions in there. One, has the growth been linear, or is it sort of work like property market prices where it plateaus for ages and then spikes? And secondly, was there any point in time where you thought, that was a sweet spot when we just had 16 people and we had everything under control and we had nothing in my to-do list? Was there any particular sweet spot that you'd go back to and think, if I could spend the rest of my time, I'd spend it right there?
Yeah, sure. It's a really great question. And reflecting, back on when would be the best time to have stopped. I think as a business now, we used to plan, 5-year business plans, 1-year goals, and about a year ago we decided we just can't do that anymore. As a business, it's very hard for us to plan more than 90 days in advance. There are just groundbreaking changes that are happening that will completely change our business model. Whether it's introduction of new pieces of technology or whether it's just changes in the mindset of the consumer. So ultimately what we're focused on is delivering the best level of service to our clients. And I don't think that's a factor of the number of people that we have in our team. I don't think that's even a factor of the niche that we work in or anything. It's just a factor of an essence, a value that we believe in, that we want to deliver the best advice. One of the things that I can tell you is that from the very beginning, we placed a limit on the business and we said we do not want to deal with more than 500 clients. So my belief is that I can't personally know the names of more than 500 people or 500 client groups. So it's more of a personal limitation that I say I don't want to deal with a business where, if I wanted to, I should be able to call up any one of my clients and just say, how you doing? Or catch up with them for a coffee. So that's, and I will continue to build the number of people that we need till we get to that 500, whether that's 20, 30 or 50 team members. Cool. Well, I'm getting the off sign from the back. So yeah, thank you all for your time.